Hey everyone, Tiago here. Today we're going to be talking about TMR joysticks and controllers, specifically from AIM controllers. They make like really awesome custom controllers. I just reviewed the Hall Effects controller and everybody is switching to TMR. These two that I have here, I have a PlayStation 5 TMR controller from AIM and also an Xbox TMR controller. Now, we're going to talk about why you should get TMR. There's traditional potentiometers, there's Hall effects, and then TMR is basically the latest iteration of what you would call joystick technology. It's really funny. Anybody I ever talk to, the biggest issue that they have is stick drift. Like they're like, oh, their controller was garbage basically because it's drifting. That's when you're not touching the controller, but it's moving in all sorts of directions. Oh, that's very clicky. Sorry, I get distracted by the clicky controllers. Anyway, stick drift. That's when a traditional potentiometer just starts basically drifting, moving it in like every single direction, sometimes one really bad direction. Sometimes it's just like jittering left and right, and then it can affect your game, your aim, things like that. No pun intended, even though this is an aim controller. How does Hall effects or TMR sticks that are the newest technology make that better? Well, they're going to both be, magnetic. They do it in different ways, but they used, instead of the traditional potentiometers, they're going to be, they're going to be magnetic, so significantly less prone to any type of drift. You can technically still get it or damage the joystick, but it's very, very uncommon, and it's nowhere near as common as on a traditional type of, joystick. Now, something like this is going to be for the Xbox. This is going to be their custom controller. This has like their new metallic faceplate. It's called like the Symbiote faceplate. You can do whatever you want. You can choose like white buttons, black buttons. I decided to do red here because I think it looks like so awesome, and obviously something that's unique. When you turn it on, look at you can kind of even see in the thumbsticks there are LEDs. Like, I love custom computers and RGB and different lighting things. It's just like one of the coolest things, and to see that in a controller, like, and this is a real genuine OEM Xbox controller that they've just really highly modified. And likewise with the PlayStation 5 one, this is a OEM DualSense. They literally take the controller from Microsoft and from Sony and basically, add all these what you could call gizmos to them. But I have heard that people have a little bit of an adjustment period when they go from like a traditional, let's say a traditional Xbox controller with the potentiometers that has sort of a linear curve in a lot of senses with the thumbsticks, and then you go to like Hall effects and you have to kind of adapt. Sometimes it's a lot more sensitive. And TMR, it's going to be kind of like a compromise in certain ways between like the old style and the newer style. These particular sticks actually feel really similar to the original ones in basically the best ways possible. And they even sound better in terms of the clicky. When you're doing L3 or R3 to run, it's not just for the clicky sound. That's actually really important. Like if you're playing a game where you have to constantly press it, like an FPS game, like Call of Duty, you're going to want it to be responsive. And hand in hand with that, look at this. I just popped off the thumbstick. And no, that's not a defect. These are literally how you can option it. And you can see the clear, if I can turn it on, you can see the clear see-through. And you can get all different types of bases. You can get like a yellow or white or blue, whatever you want for the base. I'm also going to leave the affiliate link down below. I am an AIM partner with the code classical, and actually the PlayStation 5 version, basically the same thing. You can choose to have the original OEM sticks on here, but then you won't be able to change them this easily. And then with these, you can do all sorts of colors. If I wanted to change this to something else, you can even buy these separately. And I selected the option to remove the rumbles, the vibration feature. First, when you're playing in like an FPS game, you want it to be as accurate as possible without any type of interruption. And if your controller is vibrating with explosions and things like that, That's going to throw off your aim, especially if you want to, be a little bit more competitive. Where you're going to have the next big difference is going to be on the trigger. These, basically what they call the instant triggers or the mouse click triggers. So these have a very, very sort of like immediate actuation. Once again, this is basically an FPS controller. You could make an argument that the PlayStation 5 controller on the PlayStation has a lot more games that will take advantage of its trigger system, because adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback are a big feature of this DualSense controller, where the Xbox One is more, more standard. It's not quite as nuanced, but that's where the magic of the PlayStation 5 aim controller comes in. See, listen to this. This is going to be their mouse click triggers. And of course, the bumpers too are mouse click on the PlayStation 5. Sound, incredible, very crisp. So let's say you're playing an FPS game. On the AIM version of the controller, the controller that you can also get the TMR sticks on, you can just basically pop these, like this. And look at that. You have your full haptic system of the original DualSense controller. So you can go and play whichever game, that you want, that's maybe not an FPS, that you're going to take advantage of the feedback. If you feel like the bow and arrow as you're pulling it, or a racing game, like that's just glorious. It's really, really cool. Another difference between the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One, the face buttons on this one are digital, so they're going to feel and sound a little different than the OEM. Both the D-pad, as you can hear, and you get that little bit more of a tactile feedback. While on the Xbox, that's basically what an Xbox controller sounds like. These are just basically the stock, membrane buttons. So now, in addition to the TMR and like the other aspects of the controller with the aesthetics, probably the most important feature, it's really going to be the paddles in the back. And that's where I feel that like AIM, bar none, is the absolute best, because first, ergonomically, these just feel terrific, and it's one of the only controllers with 4 buttons or 4 paddles that I can play with, that like my fingers aren't running into the other buttons and like triggering something, for example. I mean, that's just incredibly good. And then the PlayStation 5 version, it's a little bit different of a sound, but it's the same snappiness. It's maybe more of like a medium tone, while the Xbox One's a little higher pitched, but same thing, feels super comfortable, and you don't accidentally hit them. And obviously, you can also get these with the remap, which I recommend you do, so that way you can remap them to whatever buttons that you want. This one, I actually bought this one myself. This one they sent to me for review. But buying this one with my coupon code, Classical, you're not going to find a controller like this with TMR sticks. Are you kidding me? Paddles in the back, like digital buttons, digital clicks that you can also change around, like swappable buttons, and the design, which is like insane. And you can also swap these panels. Let's say if you don't like this design, which is like from the Fortnite game, look, you can magnetically swap. You don't have to unscrew anything. You just swap them. You can buy, like, let's say white or black panels or purple or different colors, and even mix them up. Mix up the thumbsticks, and then that's as easy as that. We can't do that on the Xbox controller, only the snap panels for the PlayStation 5. I really love different controllers, and like you're not going to find something like this. You option this out with any other custom company, you're going to be at $400. And without these sales, obviously, this is usually what these controllers cost. They're 300 plus, but they always have some type of sale running. That's why I even bought this. Like I had a bunch of AIM controllers. I have like an embarrassing amount of AIM controllers, but I just wanted another one, especially with the different designs they have. They have these new metal plates. I just saw they put up a cool Doom Dark Ages design for the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox that you can put in. So, very, very cool. All right, guys. So I'm going to leave my coupon code down below. It's going to be code Classical. Whatever options you want to stack on any of their controllers. They also have PS4 controllers, but I don't believe you can get TMR on those. Those are just going to be regular potentiometers, but they're really cool too. I love their PS4 controllers. They sound very, very good and feel good. So the Xbox One is definitely going to be, for me right now, the star of the show, because TMR on an Xbox controller is pretty unique. Not many of them out there. PlayStation 5, you can usually find it a little more easily with Hall effects or TMR, and these are fantastic. But the Xbox One has been really cool, especially with this design. So, code classical. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.